Hello everyone, it's Elaine. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing another Valentine's card, so let's jump right in. I am going to be using some Copic friendly cardstock here in my Misty. This is my large Misty, along with some Fawn jet black ink, which is Copic friendly. And the stamp sets I'm going to be using today are December Duo, Love Quotes, and also a die set called Hip to be Square. These are all Mama Elephant products. You will probably be familiar with these stamps. They were part of Mama Elephant's September release, the anniversary release. And when I posted my pictures on Instagram, I had a lot of comments saying that they'd be really good for Valentine's. So that's what I'm creating today. They have got Christmas jumpers on. I was going to use the bears in the bottom right there, you can see, but they just didn't seem to fit quite as nicely in that hip to be square frame. So I did decide to use the bunnies and the penguins. And I know they've got Christmas jumpers on, but you know, I'm here for inspiration. So I hope you still enjoy the card. I have also taken another older stamp set called Love Quotes from Mama Elephant. You'll see that later on in the video. I'm using that for my sentiment today. I'm going to be using my Copic markers to colour in all my images today. I have popped the caps on the screen. I will also have them listed down below. Some of the Copic markers I have are Copic Chow, and at one point I did have all the labels on the caps, but over time they've fallen off and I haven't really been bothered to replace them. So I have all the markers listed below. Some of the other products I do list on the screen, such as some of the coloured cardstock that I've used in the last couple of videos. But be sure to check out my links below. They do generally have all of the products I've used. Some of the links are affiliate links, and I do appreciate anyone who uses my links. I do not take that for granted at all. So I'm colouring in my penguins here. I've used quite a dark, I think that's a W6 for the penguins. And I will just use a slightly lighter grey W marker for their faces. Really cute. I've really sped up the video today. I think this is 5 times as fast as I would normally be colouring, and I have only coloured one jumper of the penguin just to try and speed things up a little bit for you. These little penguins are so cute, as are the bunnies. So I suppose these jumpers are more overtly Christmas because they've got little Christmas trees on, but still so cute. Again, if you watched my last video, I'm using very similar reds. I think it might even be the same red combo. I do tend to reach for the same colours. I just get used to the way that they blend. And also, as some of my markers are quite old, I've noticed that the brush tip is quite loose. So I am going to replace some of my tips. I just don't find they're as precise as they used to be. They're a little bit soft. But I'm used to the way that all of my markers work, so I just generally tend to reach for the same ones. Doing some E47 for the bunnies' faces. You could change up and have different coloured bunnies, but for this particular project I decided to keep the bunnies the same colours. Sometimes my brain just can't think and I can't decide what colours to use, and if one colour suits and I'm comfortable using it, I'll just colour the same images with the same colours. I will probably try to make another project with the bears at some point. And now I'm going to colour in their little jumper that they're sharing. Again, using the same colours. Trying not to use too many colours on the card. I guess I try to use maybe 2 or 3 colours for most of my cards. I think that gives a nice cohesive effect. If I have too many images on a card and too many different things to colour, my brain just cannot cope. I'm by no means a trained artist or anything like that. I just go with what is visually pleasing to me. These little jumpers and the images are very tiny, so I do use my colourless blender to push any colour out that might have come outside the lines, and I sometimes use a white jelly roll pen just to tidy up the edges because these are really fine images. Now, using my favourite pinks are 85, 83 and 81, and I do pull in the RV10 just to really lighten up the tips of those ears. So cute. Just popping a little bit of that pink on their cheeks as well. I do later on come back and pop some pink on the penguin's cheeks as well. So once I'm finished with those images, I'm going to set them aside and I'm going to work on my card background. So I'm taking a piece of smooth white cardstock here, popping it on my grit mat, and I'm using my favourite stencil, especially for Valentines, which is the Pretty Pink Posh Layered Hearts. This is a 2-step stencil, and for this particular card I am using Distress ink in Festive Berries. I am going to be trimming this piece of cardstock down, but I'm going to be using the whole stencil just to give myself a variety of hearts to choose from to trim out. You'll notice I'm trying to put a little bit of extra ink at the top of the hearts. I really like to help that give some dimension and some interest. So just using my brush and picking up that ink and pressing slightly harder and starting at the top of the heart and pulling it down. Probably some smaller blending brushes, if you have them, would help with this effect. But I'm being lazy and I can't bother to reach for any other brushes. I do have smaller blending brushes, but I didn't want to reach for them. That was being too lazy. Right, we're going to be doing some ink splattering now. So I'm taking that Festive Berries, smush that into my glass mat and add some water. Grab one of my little paint brushes and splatter some hearts on. It looks quite dark and red at the moment, but it does sort of dry back. Take that away, and I'm going to be using a gold ink that I've got in my stash. It is a really good shade because I haven't used it for ages. It's really pretty, and it was quite thick, so I used a little bit of water just to loosen that up, and that helped to release it from the paintbrush. It's quite hard to see on camera, but it's really lovely and shimmery. I think that's a Winsor Newton ink. Again, I'll have that listed down below in case you're interested. But if you've got any kind of shimmery paint, anything would work. So this is the Hip to be Square Creative Cuts for Mama Elephant. I'm just measuring out here, and I believe that it measures 3 3/4 inches. So I'm going to be creating a border for myself. So this panel here is going to be cut to 4 1/4 inches, I believe. Again, that will all be on the screen in the final edit. So now I have cut out my grid, and now I'm just having a little play around with how I think everything's going to look best. And this is the Love Quote stamp set. I'm not sure when this released, but it is fairly old in comparison to much of my stash. But I really like it, and felt like I hadn't used it for ages, and they would just fit, some of those sentiments fit perfectly in those squares. So I'm going to secure that 4 grid onto my heart panel. This is Nuvo liquid adhesive that I've got here. Really like this one. I've been using it for years, and it's one of my faithfuls. Do my best to line that up so it's nice and centered. Secure that down once I'm happy. So I know where my images are going to go. So I'm going to stamp my sentiments first, pop this in my mini MISTI, line up my images or my sentiment stamps that I'm going to be using. Going to do them one at a time. I'm bringing in the Lawn Fawn Lobster ink. I like to stamp this twice, just so that it looks nice and bold against those hearts. Otherwise it could look a little bit lost. And I was only going to use 1 centimetre at first, but I really like this. We belong together. I think that's really cute together. And fills in all those squares nicely. So again, Lobster ink, and stamp that twice. So this is a Delicata sparkly ink in Ruby. A little mini cube, super cute. It's very subtle, and on camera you probably can't see it at all, but it just helps deepen that red a little bit and just gives a slight sheen to that sentiment. So this is Cherry Pop cardstock from Tailored Expressions. And I'm going to layer that underneath my heart panel. Decided just to give a little bit extra dimension to cut another one of those grids. I'm going to pop that on top, again with some more liquid adhesive. And now I've got a bit of a raised grid, I'm also going to be popping some cardstock behind my images just to help everything lay flat. So I just use some scrap cardstock, which I have in abundance, and put that behind the top part of the penguins, and that makes everything lay flush. I'm going to do the same to my bunnies. I've put some cardstock behind there towards the top of their heads, a few dots of liquid adhesive, and again just popping them down, fitting them in that grid. Super cute. Going to be adding some white gel highlights to all of the images. Just adding them wherever I feel. Popping a little bit also on their little cheeks. I've already gone ahead and added the little cheeks on the penguins. And there is a little tiny heart in that love quote stamp set. And I felt like that would look perfect just at the bottom of We Belong Together. Using that Delicata ink again as well. I did this instead of heat embossing. And that is a finished look at the card I created today. I really hope you enjoyed it and it gave you some inspiration for your own cards. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.